Hey everyone, welcome to Collector Chatter. This is episode 51. I am your host, Miguel. Here, my co-host Charlie. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about the latest Funko news, like we always do, and we're going to talk about scammers in the Funko community as well.
And as always, whether you're listening on the podcast platforms or over at YouTube, we really appreciate all your support. So if you're on those podcast platforms, make sure you're following us there, but then head over to our YouTube channel and make sure you, when you get there, if you're not already, subscribe to our channel, like our videos, comment on them, and hit that notification bell so you know when new videos come out. All right, with that being said, let's chat.
All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode. This is episode 51. I'm here with Charlie, like always. Happy holidays. We just passed Thanksgiving. Hopefully, everyone had a great Thanksgiving that celebrates you with family and friends and everything. I know we had a good time, with our families, kind of relax and everything. Nothing crazy, but
went by quick.
Flew by, right? Yeah, flew by.
Too quick.
And we are now kind of more in full-blown holiday mode. If you guys did not notice, our logo has changed.
Yes.
So it's a temporary thing, of course, just for the holidays, celebrate our little overlay here. So if you guys are listening, you guys do see our logo, of course, as we changed it on there as well. But head over to the YouTube channel, like we always say, because you can see some more visuals, and we usually have like a nice little overlay that's on here. And this one's
super
pretty sweet.
Yeah, super fun.
Nice and holiday themed. But yeah, very excited. Again, we're going to talk about some news. Nothing crazy this week. There was only a few things, a couple topics, and some things that we kind of hinted towards in the last episode that we'll kind of get more into. We'll talk about the mystery boxes, a couple Black Friday things that happened over this past weekend. And then we wanted to get into a topic that unfortunately is something that is going on in the community. It has been going on for a long time, but lately there was another big page, big channel, big person that came out as a scammer in the Funko community. And we kind of just want to give our input on that situation, which I know a little bit more about than Charlie, specifically to this person. But then we'll just kind of go into, scammers in general, just kind of what we think about that whole thing and when you're buying things and just being careful, maybe giving you guys some tips and stuff like as well. But we can just go right into the news. Like I said, nothing super crazy, but right off the bat, Charlie, you can start us off with something that you want to talk about.
Something that got me super excited. We had seen this in the rumors, but now we finally saw we're getting like the OG Disney characters, new molds and pops. Like there aren't many of them just looking like themselves, whether it's a holiday overlay or something along those lines. We have the OG Disney ones, but we're getting a new Mickey, Minnie, Pluto, Goofy, Daisy, Donald, and a Chip and Dale. I'm like personally really excited for these as like a hardcore Disney fan. Like I love like the OG characters, and it's just interesting because like Chip and Dale, for example, there is 2-pack of them. They're flocked. It was a con exclusive, and besides like them dressed up as like other characters, we've never had another like Chip and Dale. So those ones I'm super excited for. And they're really, though, it seems like they're going to milk this line a little bit, which seems to be the new Funko way even more. We now have these like 8-packs, which I know last week we had the breaking news of the No Way Home ones, which we'll talk more about that later, but that even has one. And it seems like they're really getting into these like big case displays. I personally think it looks pretty cool for the Mickey one. Like, I'm hoping they keep it to things like this where it works. So it does work for this. It does work for Spider-Man, but I hope this doesn't become like now, all right, every pop in the line is now going to get into this huge case. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So, well, first off, I saw the big case. So are they coming out individually too, or is it just that case?
They're coming out individually. And I even saw that Walmart's going to have like a 4-pack, which I'm assuming is like, Mickey and Minnie are definitely in it. Yeah. But we're going to not have probably like Chip and Dale in it, probably like Goofy and Donald.
Okay. So it's my personal opinion. So I think they look pretty cool. I honestly, so if you guys haven't seen it, or if you're watching, you'll see like we'll pop it up. But if you're listening, essentially like what I was saying, so it's like an 8-pack, but you're getting like 4 on top, 4 on the bottom, and then the case is like a bigger up and down rather than left to right. I personally like that way better. Like I hate like right off the bat, the one I think of is BTS, because there's so many members. I know there's other ones,
Yep.
but BTS is one of the ones that has like eight, seven, eight, whatever many members, but they're like super long. It's same thing, kind of like even with the Ronald McDonald one or the McDonald's one, like those super, super long ones, I think they just like look too weird because they have to fit on. There's a lot more space, I feel like, for that
Yeah.
versus where like it's an up and down one, you can kind of fit it better in places if you were to like display it that way. So like on display purposes, I think that's a better thing. I think it's a cooler look to the box, like just being more compact and being on top of each other. Um, so on that end, yeah, I think it's pretty cool. It's interesting, like we said about the Disney just being the OG characters, because it's weird that Funko kind of does this with all of the OG Disney characters with like across their different products, because they also do it with the sodas. Like we don't have like an
Yeah.
original Donald, we don't have an original well, maybe it's I guess a Goofy, and
Yeah,
there's
we
like
have
a
Goofy.
Mickey. There's so many different versions of Mickey, but like we still don't have a Minnie, like there's certain characters that we don't even have, and then there's ones like especially the Donald where we don't have like just a regular version. It's always
Donald.
him as a character or something. So it's interesting that they've done that with not just pops but also sodas. But it is true, like you said, with the pops part of it, it's cool to see like the OG ones and them together. Like now, I don't think this is something they're gonna do going forward. It just happens to be, like you said, what I was gonna mention actually was the No Way Home line, which we'll get into in a second. But it's interesting that both of those lines are doing that.
Yeah.
So maybe
Like
that's just a
back to back.
coincidence.
Yeah.
Yeah, like maybe that's a coincidence, but I hope it's not just like the normal thing, because I already hate when they do common pops and then the multi packs. Like we've talked about this a
Yeah.
bunch of
There's no
times because it
point.
happens all the time. And it's like, you know, do it where it's like only a limited one is in the multi pack or something like that, where it's not just like a duplicate, literally. Um, but yeah, to transition over, of course, the No Way Home pops second wave, finally, like a year later,
Finally.
has been announced. In last week's episode, we actually like broke news because it was the first time we got like a pretty big alert, and it was when these were being announced. Now, while we're recording, we generally usually record Sunday nights or Monday nights, depending on our schedules. Um, in the middle of the night, this is when we got this. Now we just talked about the initial like what five pops, whatever that we
Yes.
saw, and then come to find out when we ended the episode, then more leaks came through and we got like a lot more. So we obviously want to talk about those because we missed them on the last one. We know they're a big deal because this line is like pretty sick. But just off the bat, we talked about the initial Spider-Man. So we're getting the three
Yep.
versions of the Spider-Man again, which is awesome. We're also saw the three villains. I think those are the only six we talked about, right? Which was
Correct.
Electro, Doc Ock, and the Green Goblin. But then we got a lot of exclusives. So we got a batch of 5 different exclusives where one of them is a Funko Shop, which is the unmasked, and that's the Tom Holland version,
Yep.
which looks sick. He's like all beat up. Then we got a PX exclusive, which this is probably one of the best ones of this
I
entire
agree.
batch. And this is the Andrew Garfield one, right?
Yep.
Yes, this is him with the mask on his mouth where
Yeah.
he's like putting his hands up. Super cool. Then we got a metallic Hot Topic exclusive, which is of like that's the newer one, I believe. At the end of the movie, we got a Green Goblin on top of his like
No, no, no.
flying thing there. That's
That one's actually, which is funny because
is
I want to
that
bring this up.
Toby?
It's Tobey Maguire, and I'm assuming Toby would not allow his likeness to have a pop.
Oh, and that's why there's no unmasked version
It,
of him.
yeah, I mean, it makes no sense.
Oh yeah, because actually that's the same exact pop as the common one. It's just
Metallic.
metallic of
Yep.
his version. Okay,
Correct.
yeah, which
Where everyone
I
else
hate
is
when they
special.
I hate when they do like the whole little metallic thing. Yeah. But then there's a metallic box lunch of the Green Goblin. And then we got a Walmart exclusive of
Ned.
drawing a blank on his name, Ned, but he's got the cloak from Doctor Strange, which is cool
Yep.
when he takes that in the movie. By the way, there's obviously spoilers in all this conversation because this has been long enough.
Yeah, a year.
Yeah, we got a t-shirt bundle, Target one, which is pretty sweet. Also metallic. They're definitely milking the metallic in this line for sure.
They are.
We got another Tom Holland version. We got the Doctor Strange version we spoke about. A bunch of different like commons and stuff. But like to go off of what you said, we do have an 8-pack. Same thing, like you
Yes.
said. It's Walmart, so it does seem like Walmart's the one kind of taking on these, and it is the same kind of thing where it's 4 on top, 4 on the bottom. However, you're getting the 6 that we spoke about, which is the 3 Spider-Mans, 3 villains, and then you're going to get 2 additional villains, which we talked about. Like, why don't they have these other villains? Remember we were talking about,
Yeah.
because we didn't see all these yet. And it is, of course, the Sandman, which that one looks sick,
It
like
looks
really, really
awesome.
cool mold. And then the
The
lizard
lizard.
one, yeah. So pretty sick. And then there's a 3-pack. It's the same exact pops again, like we talked about. Well, no, one of them's different. The Tom Holland pop is different. Oh
It
well, no,
is?
that Tom Holland. No,
Yeah.
no. There's 2 different versions of the Tom Holland pop. There's a metallic one where he's swinging with like the web,
Yes, with his new
and then
suit.
there's with the newer suit, and then which is in the 3-pack. It's not that. It's his original like just normal suit, and then
Correct.
we got the other 2 Spider-Mans. So of course, Toby, Andrew. Again, this is the first time we're getting Toby pops in general. So maybe that is the reason why we didn't even get the original wave too, because like you said, maybe his likeness, he just doesn't want to be
Yeah.
in done in a toy form or whatever.
Which is
But
just so annoying. I'm sorry.
yeah, it's like so stupid. It's like you can make so much money, everyone's doing it. Like just like they could have totally had another cool pop of him.
Yeah, with
um
all of them with their masks off would have been awesome. I mean, big scenes with that. Or even like when he's first introduced in the movie, he's just like wearing normal clothes. That could have been a fun
yeah,
pop.
yeah,
Like,
just like a literally standard version of
yeah.
Peter Parker basically.
So,
So
but
it's
still,
interesting,
this
but
line's
love
amazing.
the line. Yeah, love the line. I was just gonna say, what are your thoughts? I definitely think it's a ton, it's a lot. We kind of expected it. We wanted these. Now we're finally getting them. Do you think it's too late? Do you think like the hype is still there? I feel like it seemed like it was gonna be, but I think people are going nuts about it.
People are going nuts about it's not the hype's not too late for the Funko community. Let's just put it that way. Like if this was like I don't know what else to say, but if this was just like anything else, let's just say maybe action figures, even though those have like huge followings, let's just say like the Hasbro like legends, I don't think people will be
Hmm.
going as nuts about them as they are for the Funkos. I also think it goes to hand because we've never had all these Spider-Man.
Hmm.
And I mean, yeah, that 3-pack is, I mean, we've been talking about that for like a year. That's awesome. And I personally, I know the 8-pack is like huge, but like I kind of want that for my collection. I think it looks super cool that this movie was all about like having all these characters in it. So to me, there's something about it just like fits. If there was an 8-pack for, let's say, like Thor Love and Thunder like this, I'd be like, no, that's trash. If
Yeah,
that makes sense. Like it
yeah.
feels worthy of this. Um, but while I'm talking about that, do you think, because I thought it was funny, and this always happens on like Funko Lives, where I'm just like, Funko, why don't you just hire like me, Migs, and like all of other people in the community? Because a lot of people are asking questions like, are Sandman and Lizard only available in that 8-pack? And like they had no idea what to say. Do you think they'll ultimately just come out in singles? And this is like like this is almost a way for them to push this in the beginning, being like, if you want these 2 pops, you have to buy this.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I feel like they would have announced it probably if they were all like, available. I think it's odd that they're not, but at the same time, it is kind of the cool tactic where it's like, this is the only way to get this. So then it
Yep.
kind of get buy this other pack because it's clearly going to be a pretty pricey pack being 8 pops. It's not just like a
Yeah, I think it's
two
like
pack or
90
3-pack.
bucks.
Yeah. So it's like a decently priced thing. Um, it's just interesting because I was looking through these and I'm like thinking like, oh, what would I want? And right off the bat, I thought, well, I'm definitely gonna get the 3-pack because to
Yep.
me, that's like super legendary. It
It's
makes
cool.
sense. Like I'm not gonna get the individual version of those because I just want
The
that.
three
Like I
pack.
don't need to have the image, right? But then I'm like, oh shit, but if I want the villains and all this, like I'm not gonna get Sandman or Lizard because they don't come in like the single ones. But I kind of wish they did them in their own pack, like a
Yeah, the
villain pack, and
villains.
then like
I
the three
agree.
pack. Like I think that would have been kind of cool. I could see just someone going after the 8 pack, and now you're kind of knocking out all of those, and then going after maybe some of the specialty ones afterwards. Because I would definitely want the two unmasked Spider-Man
Yes, me
ones
too.
for sure. The rest, I'm kind of like, I could pass on the Doctor Strange, I could pass on the Net, I could pass on the rest. Really, I'm more so like those two, the 3 pack sick, and I may even pass on the 8 pack just because the villain. I have a feeling they probably will come out the individual ones, but
Yeah,
I don't know. It's just weird. We never know what the hell Funko's doing,
I know. It's weird.
and it's clearly like it's those people that are the face of it because we see them on Instagram and the girls, and they're mostly they're talking. Like you could tell they're just kind of more like there to
It's a
market
job.
it and show it off, and like they're like cool. We work for Funko and we know some about these things, but like they don't. They're not that in like I feel like us as a community we know more and we're like
Yes.
more in tune with that stuff. So it is odd that they do that, but either way, like awesome line. Think it's sick. It's weird that it came out now, but at least we're finally getting it right around the damn holidays. Is well, it's all pre-order stuff, so we'll see when it actually launches. I'm sure it'll be sometime next year because we all know it takes a little while usually for these big lines.
Yeah.
But definitely a cool one.
Then another thing that came out, which I'm absolutely in love with, is the Star Wars movie poster. Like to me, this is if you can only get one of these Funko Pop movie posters, this is the one I want. Like I think this is awesome. The pops look awesome. They're newer, like the Luke's a new mold. I love it.
Yeah,
I do think it's funny though. No, all the retailers that have put it up so far, and if you've noticed, like no one knows what the prices of it. There's been price errors on multiple
no,
different ones. So it's funny. I'm so annoyed that I was sleeping, but it was pretty late at night. FYE put it up for 14.99 by mistake. Um,
did it
but
get changed though? You don't think they
it
would
just
have
sold out immediately.
canceled or
I,
something?
I I don't know. This happened with the Jurassic Park one, but not like that cheap. And no one
Yeah.
it never got canceled. I actually have that one. And I only got it for like 29.99.
Oh, so you do have that one? You ended up getting it?
I ended up
Is
getting
it
it.
big? Is it a lot bigger than you think, or it's not?
It's not as it's funny. It's not as big as like um I feel like I thought it was gonna be.
Is it like a 10-inch box but wider, but
Um
not as deep back
yeah, I would
or
say
bigger?
it's a
Yeah.
little taller, but it's not
Okay.
like fat at all.
Yeah, yeah, it's like a
Um
thin box. Yeah.
like the why can't I think like the music ones that have the albums in it,
Hmm.
those are bigger, in my opinion.
I
Like
still
they're a
haven't even seen
beast.
one of those in person.
I haven't either. I'm just looking by the picture, but
Yeah.
also like I think it's probably gonna be around the same size as those new movie theater ones that are coming out that
Oh
Walmart
yeah,
just
yeah.
had for the holidays. But like I'm not gonna get all the movie posters. The Jurassic Park one was really cool. I actually got it to hang up in my son's room. It's a dinosaur themed and he loves Jurassic Park and he loves Funko Pop. So I thought it was cool.
Hmm.
Because you can definitely you take them out of the box and there's just two little holes in the back where you can hang it up. So I
Hmm.
and they look awesome out of the box actually. But the
Yeah.
Star Wars one to me is awesome, and I'm assuming they'll probably make every single Star Wars one, which
You think so?
I do.
Yeah, I mean, like I could see them because they're pretty iconic posters. Like,
Yeah.
pretty much, if you know of Star Wars, at least definitely the original three. Like, you know of them. Like, you would think they would make all of them if
Yes.
they make a few of them. But yeah, definitely the original three. Let's say. Um, but I think it's interesting because I felt like this was going to be a bigger line quicker, and it hasn't been. So maybe it's kind of just more of a slow
Which I'm
burn, and
happy
like,
about.
yeah, totally down for that because price point, it's big. Like we didn't want it to be flooded, and it just to be like an annoying type of line, like more as like where it's like a cool exclusive line, which is what they've kind of been doing. And some of the like smaller movie VHS ones we thought were gonna be this big style one, and they
Yep.
haven't been. So right now we're just pretty much just the second one. So it's pretty cool. And I mean, it was interesting. I always thought it was weird that Jurassic Park was the first one, which I was kind of like, yeah, okay, I get it. It's kind
Me
of a
too.
cool
It's
poster.
number 3 on the box, which is interesting.
Oh, I thought it was two. So it's number three. So
Yeah.
there's definitely is another one. But
It's
like I'm
funny.
thinking like in my head of like movies where you think of like that time of age and you think of movies and obviously
Yep.
Star Wars, all of those will always be one. And I don't know why I just thought of this one out of nowhere, but they should totally do like an Independence Day one. I think that'd be pretty sick.
That would be pretty cool.
Have like maybe like a Will Smith pop and then just have like the back be the, the whole ship on Independence Day. I think that'd be sick.
No, yeah, I mean that would be pretty sick. I mean, I love this line. It's just the fact is that they're big, and like you really can only be selective. One day I would like to, have a spot where I can just like hang
Yeah,
them
a
all up.
theater
Like,
room, bro. If you
yeah,
could have like a little room that's like a theater movie
it's
style, it'd
like
be amazing.
exactly, and because it's perfect. Like normally you would hang up movie posters in a room like that,
Yeah,
so it's a
yeah. And they're
perfect
probably
like
not as big as a real movie poster. So
exactly. So it's like a perfect mix of like a fan of people who like movies and Funko Pops. So I
mhm.
mean, I could talk about this all day, but I mean, what did you think of that one?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was sick. It's like awesome, and the mold, like you said, and everything. Uh, definitely is gonna hit a big fandom. You know, it's smart of them to have one of the first ones be that. But the fact that you just said it was three is now getting me thinking, like, what the hell is two? So it's gonna be interesting to see if that's and they've done that with a lot of these
Well, there's
lines where
not a number
they don't
one.
release them in the numbers. The Jurassic
So
Park isn't numbered.
no, so Jurassic Park is number 3. Star
Oh,
Wars
okay,
is number 2. There's been rumors
so Star
online.
Wars is number two. Okay,
Yeah,
so I did
yeah,
see a number two.
sorry.
I
Yeah.
just thought Jurassic Park was one, I guess.
I always assumed that until I never even looked at the box, if I'm being honest. But when I saw this, and then in one of my groups I'm in, someone was like, "Oh, number 1 is Gremlins," and then other people like, "No, that's not true. They made Gremlins just
The
the
smaller one.
VHS,
Yeah.
which is number 16." But then some people, there's like arguments for going back in this thread, being like, "Oh no, Gremlins is going to have both," which to me is weird.
That's weird.
I don't want them to cross
That
over.
doesn't.
Part of me feel I'm hoping that the Gremlins rumored movie poster turned into like the smaller VHS cover style.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Because I also thought like the Godfather one was going to be one for a little
yep.
while, and it wasn't. So like I don't know. It's interesting, but let us know what your thoughts are because if you guys haven't seen these things, they are pretty sweet. Especially that one, the New Hope one, definitely being announced is sick. And I know you. As soon as I saw it, I knew you were going to be hyped
Yeah,
once that
so
thing was
cool.
announced. Um, then we have so we do have a new wave of pop like a series. It's a Civil War series that's going to be an Amazon exclusive. Amazon's kind of done this before, you know, where they had the
Yeah,
Year of the Shield and they had like a few different kind of like themed series. Vision is the first pop that's kind of announced on this one. Not gonna lie, kind of looks like the Vision
it's
that was
exactly the
already
same.
out
Yeah.
like from back in that movie. So it is kind of interesting that they're doing this. So we'll see what the rest of them are going to look like. But it's just kind of another line and series where yet again Funko kind of just goes back on Marvel old movies and kind of just repurposes and redoes like their things. Like do you like that they do that so much? They do it a lot with Marvel.
I, it depends. I do think this is weird. I remember we had saw a rumor a while back that this is going to be like one of those build a series, which it doesn't look like that's
It
the
didn't look like
case.
it, yeah, because we've
If
seen the picture of the pop and
Yeah,
everything in the
so
box.
if that was the case, I actually think this would be awesome because that was super iconic. First time we got Spider-Man in the MCU, and that could build a cool one. Just getting all these guys individually, yeah, I think it's where they're going back to it. There was a Civil War line. So like why are we getting another
Yeah,
one?
yeah, exactly.
It's weird. There's so many. I almost feel like Funko slash Marvel is like, okay, we need to continuously make pops of our old popular characters because some of the new ones just aren't cutting it.
Yeah,
I mean, it seems to
it
be.
could be. It's probably what they're thinking. Yeah, which is just it's just weird. It doesn't.
One thing though
I don't
about
think it's really needed.
this line, which I've seen now a few pictures, there's rumors that like Funko's new strategy on the back of boxes, they're going to make everything a silhouette besides the one that you actually got.
Yeah, I did see
Which
that.
what do you think of that? I think that's
I
I don't know.
think I think they've done that once though. Didn't they do it with the
They
ones
did
you
in
have
the
the Star
build
Wars
this.
ones?
They did it within some of the build a scene ones, yeah, but
The
never.
build ones, right? Yeah,
That's why I'm like, is this a build a scene? It's
yeah.
just weird.
So maybe it is because I do remember that happening, and it was like if you got there were what GameStop exclusive ones,
Yep.
and then like you would see the silhouettes, whatever. Which like I mean, it's kind of cool if that's what they're gonna do, and it kind of makes it seem like now you go out there and you get like
The
them
next
as
one.
they come out, and like they'll come out in a better order or whatever. But for like the scene thing, I think it makes more sense, not just for like a general. common release or a wave of a
Exactly.
movie or something. That's a little odd, but we'll see.
Another thing,
Mm.
I mean, we kind of talked about them, but now they officially came out, was we got those movie theater moments at Walmart. So we had the Christmas Vacation, we had the Home Alone, and then we also had the Elf, but they announced then two more pops that were coming out for Walmart exclusive like Black Friday. And one was a huge, album of Def Leppard, and
Mhm.
the other one was Blink 182, Eminent of the State. Um I think that Blink 182 one is just super weird that they just redid the same pops, though I didn't realize this until like I looked closely. Travis is actually a new pop because
Yeah, he's wearing
he's
boxers
yeah,
and
which is
he's
because they're not having him drumming where the other two are exactly the same pops. I'm a
yeah.
huge Blink 182 fan, and I have no interest in getting this because to me, I'm like, I got that 3-pack. I don't need this huge, ginormous thing. And then you couldn't even have given me new Funko Pops besides
Yeah.
like the trap. It's just weird. And
It, go-
then,
it it just goes back to the whole like, is it smarter for them to make multiple versions of the same pop where they think, and we've talked about this, like, do they think people buy one or they buy the other? So now they're kind of going to hit everybody. Or do they think that they're going to have somebody who's going to buy one and the other because they want to complete it? Like, like what is their thought process versus just dropping one and having everyone go after that? So it's like I'm in the mode where it's like I'm gonna pick one or the other. I'm not gonna be one of those people that need
yes.
to get on both. And I believe like if this was the only one that came out, it would be a pretty sweet one to have if they didn't have that other 3-pack. But space and size, money, and all that kind of stuff makes you think like if I had to choose one, just get the damn 3-pack one, unless you have like you love the album picture and art, whatever, that bad.
Yeah. I kind of wish they were making these more like the movie posters where the Funko Pops were in front of like the record album image, not on like the side. So I guess
Not
kind of
where the
like,
actual vinyl is.
yeah, which I guess kind of is what the original ones are. These are now like making them more deluxe. Like I just don't see, it's not like the image quality is like great poster. It's just a piece of printed cardboard on
Yeah.
them where,
I
so
almost feel like I don't know. I was gonna say I just thought about this now. But I almost feel like I wish we were fucking making these things for these people and
I know.
designing them because I almost feel like it. Tell me if you think like you agree with this, and you guys too can let me know if you're listening. So they have the album one, right, and it's just a square picture of the album. Okay,
Yep.
now they have this deluxe one, which is literally that, and then right next to it, same size because it's duplicated over the record and the vinyl, and then the actual pops there, right? Wouldn't it have been cooler if they made like the album and then the vinyl is actually behind it and it was slightly sticking out and then just the pops in front of it and now you're getting a box that's like slightly bigger than their album one but nowhere near as big as this fucking one that's
It
just
would be
stretched
cool.
out.
Yeah,
Wouldn't that actually be kind of cool?
that would be kind of cool.
Because like what's the point of because the actual vinyl, if I'm not mistaken, in all these is just one plain color, right? They don't like
Well,
have,
it's funny.
or
That's what
are
I
they?
thought the case was, but the Blink 182 one, it looks like the actual vinyl. Like what the
Okay.
CD looked like when I had the CD. Which I found interesting, but I don't think the other ones are like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to look to see if I can find a. Okay, I see here. So I mean, it's a plain vinyl, and then the center is the color picture or whatever, which that's fine. But I don't know. I just feel like it's excessive. Like it's just
You don't
like the
want
one or the other doesn't need to be there. Like you don't need both to be fully shown, in my opinion. Like I feel like the album art is a little bit more important, and then the album itself could have just been, like I said, something maybe sticking outside or something that you could have, or it could be removable or something. Because now you're also, remember, these cases, you can't even open these things.
yeah,
So
no.
now you have more moving parts. We already seen issues with some of these pops when they get damaged and messed up. You had one that was like super
Yep.
damaged, and you can't like really fix them or move them. And now you're just kind of giving us, I don't know. It's a little weird. It's very niche, like
You're
like
right. It's
to
very
collecting. Like you got to
niche,
be very very
which isn't a
specific
bad
to
thing.
that.
I guess I'm just salty as like been wanting Blink 182 pops, and like I just think it's weird. Why is Travis why didn't they use the same Travis one? It's like, why did they put a new Travis mold in this?
Yeah, why
I
doesn't he
find,
have a drum set though? You know?
yeah, then why not make all like three new ones or make a different thing? I don't know. I know I could go on about this all day. It's just I looked at this and I'm like, wow, this makes no sense. Funko's normal strategy is let's just repeat everything, but they decided to put one different pop in there. And maybe they're thinking that is a reason, kind of like we're saying with the No Way Home, to entice someone to buy it.
Well,
I don't
well, I think it's more because I'm looking at Def Leppard now too, and I guess maybe it's more of a logistical like a thing of like because like in the Def Leppard one, their drummer as well, who has one arm, his drum set isn't there either. So maybe it's because it's too big, it won't fit right, so it's just like them. But
Yep.
then it's a little odd that it's just them with a drumstick, and then you have the guys with guitars actually have guitars, and then the
Yeah.
singer has a mic. So it's just a little weird. I don't think it really goes as well as the original just albums that came out. Like I thought that was a better hit than what they're
Agreed.
doing with these, which is odd. Then we had some new sodas, couple from Ratatouille, so linguine, and then what's her, is it Coletta
Yep.
Colette,
Yep.
right? um Sodas were not, I think, both box lunch. I believe
I
box lunches pretty
believe,
much
but I
have
don't think
gotten all
they've
of theirs,
said it officially.
like Remy's and stuff. I think is usually where they come out. But anyway, look out for those. Some new sodas. That's pretty cool that we're getting. We already kind of knew those were going to be,
Yeah.
out in that line and in that wave. Um, but
Yeah, another
anything
interesting
else?
thing. So GameStop had on the Mandalorian Black Friday um boxes, mystery boxes, which we had talked about in the past, but one thing that everyone assumed was there was two different boxes. So you got these two pops with like the pop, pin, sticker, patch, and there was another option. Well, what they did, and I haven't opened mine yet, but I saw a lot of people in the community, they just like they were completely random. So like you could have gotten two boxes, got three of the same pop, and like one other out of your four. So it wasn't just the 2 and 2. I kind of, I mean, maybe they did that because they knew that more people maybe want to go back and buy more boxes, but I kind of wish it was just the two different options you could have gotten. I don't know. What is your
Yeah.
opinion on that?
Yeah. I mean initially, so I didn't like look into it too much. I know we spoke about it quickly. We saw the four different pops. I work in retail, so like in a mall, and on Black Friday was obviously it's nuts. So like I didn't even grab one or even check, but I know you guys were telling me when it was out, and off the top of my head, I completely forgot. And then when I looked into it again, I thought it was four different boxes. Like I didn't even know you got two pops in each
Yeah.
box. I think I just slipped my mind. So I thought it was only one. So I was like, all right, cool. So you're just literally doing a mystery to get one of these pops. But if the fact it was two, like you said, like I think it could have been two different boxes with two different ones. But I like that it's kind of a mix. But like you said, is there a chance? There's not a chance that you'll get two of the same pop, though,
No,
right?
there's not a change. You'll get two of the
Okay.
same. Not that I've seen. No, yeah.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so,
So in that aspect, I don't think it's too bad. Like it's kind of cool that you get a mix because then it really is a mystery. It makes
yeah.
it. I mean, there's obviously more boxes out there now. More of a chance that you can, maybe get the same exact version, but it's still kind of cool. I mean, that GameStop's always kind of been like that, where like you didn't know
Yeah.
what you truly didn't know what you were going to get. It wasn't like the Fun Days boxes on these other ones where it was a little bit more like you had an idea. So I thought it was pretty cool. So they say, and you were saying, I think when we were talking beforehand, they're all sold out pretty quick and everything, right? So
They
it
sold
seemed
out
like a
pretty
pretty popular
quickly.
box.
Then they put them back up. I'm not sure if they're still there. But I know a lot of people were like, if you're a big Star Wars fan, they were like making sure they were some of the first people in the store to get them. It's funny. I noticed some people mentioned like theirs was unwrapped. So people were clearly going through
Oh wow,
the boxes, and which sucks.
yes,
Um,
that's annoying. Well, what
but
was your top one of the four?
I
Like the
really
one
like the Mando where he's like covered in mud.
mud. Yeah, that's
I
my
think that
personal
one's really
favorite
super
one.
cool.
Yeah, they were all really awesome, but that I was gonna say that's probably the one I like the best is the muddy one.
Yeah, I agree.
Um, but definitely cool. And then along lines with those boxes and stuff, of course, another pretty big topic was Funko's mystery box for Black Friday, which I know we talked about it last week. We mentioned essentially kind of what, was potentially going to be in some of these boxes, what we were thinking they were going to do. And I think we were pretty spot on. Definitely Charlie was pretty spot on exactly with what his thoughts were in terms of where you were going to get like that Yuletide Freddy Funko, which we saw was in the picture. And then there was 6 pops in total. So then the other 5 were literally going to be random based off of a category or type of, line. But like Charlie said, they were more than likely just going to be overstock or
Yeah.
extra random stuff that they had. And it kind of seems like that's exactly what it was, based off of some of the boxes that people already had gotten and opened that we saw some pictures of. And it seems like the community is kind of in an uproar in the sense of
Yeah.
like maybe the people that didn't think that's what it was going to be. I mean, versus where we're just kind of like, well, duh. The people that are kind of upset, I guess, thought it was really going to be something a little bit more unique.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. What were your thoughts?
Well, I mean, this is obviously, like you said, what I thought. One thing that got me a little more excited though was Funko Europe, Twitter account
Mhm.
tweeted and all the different themes. And I was like, look at some of these themes. I'm like, okay, this is pretty legit. Blacklight, like Funko picks, which I thought was fun. And they kind of tease like if you pick the Funko picks one, there's gonna be a really nice surprise for you in there. So I'm like, oh man, like maybe they're gonna throw in some Freddy's or something like along those lines. Like maybe it isn't what I thought. Then, of course, when it comes to the States, when ours released, they were completely different themes. They were very vague. In England, they were very specific. You're getting a Star Wars box, you're getting a Marvel box. Ours had like
Yeah.
these, little play on word type things. Um, which,
And it
I
also looks like there was more boxes in
yes,
that original like
there
thing,
were
right?
there were more boxes, which and two, I mean, I've seen this, people talk about it all the time. You can if you even go on Funko Europe's website, like they have a lot of pops that I wish we had in stock still in the
Hmm.
States.
Yeah,
So
still. Yeah.
Funko's clearly just not as popular there. So they probably, even though it's the same concept, you had a better chance of getting stuff, in our opinion, as Americans, of things that we would want.
Mhm.
So another thing that rubbed me a little bit of the wrong way, which is funny, and everyone knows super, super love Funko. But when we watch these lives, I don't like when they lie to their fans because this was asked straight up. Like, hey, is this gonna be new stuff in these boxes, or is it gonna be basically stuff that's already available? And one of the Funko employees, who's a more seasoned employee, she basically was just like, it's a mystery. It's a mystery. Where then another person was like, no, I think it's all stuff that's already like commons that we already have. Which I'm curious if they said anything to her afterwards for admitting that. Um, so then after her saying that, I was like, okay, like I kept going back and forth. I really just wanted that Freddy, if I'm being honest, but the Freddy's not worth $50. Make a long
No,
story
yeah.
short. Um, so I didn't get one. And then, like we said, people who got them immediately were posting some pictures because you could actually have gone on Black Friday if you were, happened to be lucky enough to live by one of the Funko stores and
Mhm.
got them there. And people are showing screenshots, and has come full circle. It was just commons and stuff they were trying to get rid of because they have too many and no one's buying.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. If you're buying stuff from the Funko website, yeah, like I don't think that's the market. I wouldn't care if like someone else did this or you walked into like a Target and they did a fun box for Black Friday, someone want to give it as a present. But if you're like a Funko collector, like I think they could have done something a little better. This was a way to push the Freddy because they know Funko fans love Freddy and make a
Yeah.
few extra
I
bucks to
mean,
like get rid
I
of other
think like
stuff.
what I don't know what they like initially like who they were targeting with this because it doesn't seem like obviously the collector and the people who have all these things was the smart one. But I can see where this would be something whereas kind of cool as a gift or something for someone who
Fair.
maybe is starting to collect or doesn't have as many pops, or maybe doesn't have any pops and they're just like an anime fan. So they're like, all right, let me get them this Freddy and anime box, and they're gonna get, 5 anime pops that they probably like or don't have or whatever, if it's superheroes, whatever the category was. And I could see it kind of making sense. I think like our eye is very different in what we think of because we're so deep in the game, and like thousands of pops later, like even normal mystery boxes aren't as enticing to us
Yep.
because of that reason. So like we can't like completely hate on that fact of it, but I
Very
think it's
fair.
not something that we were like into because it wasn't like it wasn't a Freddy box. It wasn't a box of fun. As is essentially what it
I
was.
guess, which is
They
what I
kind of threw
wanted
it
it to
out there,
be.
which is what we wanted it to be, and it looked like, oh, that'd be cool. It was, and that's clearly not what their point and what they were doing. So like I get it, but like yeah, don't if that was a thing, if you're like us and you didn't want that, like don't go out there and buy a damn Freddy holding a wreath for $50 and then a bunch of other random pops that either maybe you'll like one or maybe you have them all and then you gotta try to get rid of them, like so in that aspect it wasn't like, the best. But it was interesting that they did that.
And I get why they did it. It's
And
it's a
obviously, yeah,
it's
for them, they
smart
got to get rid of
business.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they got to sell it and get rid of stuff, especially if it's extra on there. But it'll be interesting to see once we get even more pictures of people actually like what were the actual pops. Like I know we saw the anime ones, and they seemed pretty generic. And I think there was one other box that I
I think
saw,
we saw one of the superhero ones, which is all
superhero one.
common Marvel
Yeah,
pops.
they're all commons essentially. You're not really even getting chases and or anything exclusive, I don't think at all. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the rest of them. Obviously, there's one's going to be like movies and TV shows, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But like, okay, attempt, but like I
I'm
said, it's not
hoping they
for us, obviously.
ultimately
But
just put that Freddy up. Like I know I think
Christian
you
probably
you didn't
will.
really care about that Freddy.
No, yeah,
I don't have a Christmas Freddy, and I kind of was like, okay, this would be cool for my collection. Um, I'm hoping they ultimately have some left over and they're gonna put them up for sale, which then will probably piss off other people who are like, this you said the only way you could get this is if you bought this
yeah.
mystery
So maybe they
box.
won't. Maybe they won't. They stay to their stick to their word. Um,
Yeah, I don't
but
think they will because they said the blacklight box of fun boxes were all sold out and then they put them back up.
that's true. And that was even
But
more because that was an actual
yeah,
limited number. This was
yes,
just a random, so obviously they probably have more of these, I'm sure. Or they can make more of these.
exactly.
Uh uh but that was pretty much like the majority of like
Yeah,
the
not
main
much
news.
stuff.
Not too much was, really, really dropped this week. But we'll get into kind of like the other main topic that we did want to talk about. Um and unfortunately, obviously, it wasn't anything great, but it was another person in the community, big name. I think we were like 15,000 followers on Instagram. Like they've been around for a while. I know them for a while now, a couple years, I want to say, is when they kind of started up. And within the last year or so, I definitely like knew of them. Never had any, conversations with this, individual or company or whatever you would say. It was called Nerdy Steez, was the actual page. And they're basically like the latest Funko Community scammer, is what everyone is saying, right? So obviously we have certain details and certain things. Like me and Charlie haven't really dealt with this ourselves, but this is based off of other people and what's going on. And we had a previous person, was a big name, Gem Pops, as a lot of you guys know, that was also turned out to do some crazy big scandal and scam and disappeared on people, and a lot of people were out of money and things like that. Now, this certain individual, they were pretty big in the community early on, where they would do like mystery boxes. They were, like a business. They didn't really seem like they were necessarily a collector themselves. They were most majority just like a business. And basically, a big thing that I knew of them was that they would do these chase bundles. Certain companies and certain people do this here and there. I know I always knew Chalice Collectibles to be a big
Yep.
company that would do that. And this same thing with this guy. So he would basically buy, pallets and cases. So he always had 6 pops, and one of them was the guaranteed chase of whatever that chase was coming out. A lot of anime ones, because I feel like I started thinking about this afterwards. Animes, I feel like
Is
it's still the one that's
huge.
holding the chase. It's holding the chase game for Funko Pops, right? Because we don't
Yeah.
get too many chase pops as often as we used to. Anime, superhero, that kind of thing. So he would do that, sell the guaranteed chase bundles and whatever. And from what I understand, a lot of it was like a pre-order process, and you would purchase through him, and they had a website. So you purchase through the website. So it wasn't necessarily the same type of thing like as the Gem Pops, whole scandal where like he were paying his PayPal through his Instagram, and it was already kind of sketchy. Which that I dealt with. I went through Gem Pops, and luckily I got
Yeah.
everything. But they started getting worse and worse, so I slowly stopped buying his stuff. Luckily, before the big scandal. But this one, I was always kind of turned off by. And like I said, I want to just kind of speak to my experience, and like Charlie never really dealt with
Yep.
this page
No.
at all. Didn't know too much about him, maybe like here and there, but nothing crazy. I just got the experience of hearing things, and it was always issues with delayed shipments, and people would constantly be posting, oh, what's going on, why is these pops not being sent, it's been 7 months, it's been 8 months, it's been a year, like crazy things. And I'm like, why are these people buying from this person? Continue to go on. He would try to right his wrongs. And what rubbed me the wrong way was, because I did follow him on Instagram, is he would come on, and I mean, whatever, he would come on IG Live. It was his big thing to kind of tell his part, and hey, this is what's going on. I have issues with shipping, whatever. And he would show off that he had pops, but it was almost like he was trying to flaunt it, like, oh, well, look at all these pallets of pops that I have, and you want to see chases, here it is, boo boo. And it was just like not a good look.
Look. Yeah.
And I'm like, I mean, I get it if you want to just prove people like, hey, look, I'm trying to help you out, whatever, but it just didn't look right. So from then on, I was like, I'm never gonna really purchase from this person. Didn't really hear too much about him, but he would just drop those once in a while, these chase bundles and stuff. Come to find out, the last post he posted was sometime in October. So it's been a few months, kind of just disappeared, ghosted people, stopped answering messages, stopped answering things. His website is completely down. It says no longer there. And it just kind of became this big thing that now people are now out of all this money. People have had orders from us here, 7 months, 8 months, that kind of stuff. Like I was saying, a big one in the community, Professor Josh, big name that a lot of people know of. He dropped a really good video where he basically says he's out like over $700 worth of these chase bundles, essentially, that he now feels like he's never going to get back or whatever it is. And a lot of other people and other, YouTube pages and Instagram, especially in this community, that spoke out about him. So that's kind of like what's going on with that. So, if you unfortunately know of this person, or you lost money in any way, hopefully there's ways of you to try to get it back. I know a lot of times, depending on how you purchase through, there's ways that you can, cancel transactions, try to dispute it. But a lot of the community is also, bringing up a lot of things where this is a pre-order process. And what sucks is that sometimes certain banks and certain vendors, or however you're buying through, will only give you a certain amount of time to dispute something. Or you can't really necessarily just go to a bank and be like a year plus later and be like, oh, this person never got me this thing, can I get this money back? Like they're gonna kind of look at you like, that doesn't really justify what's going on. So unfortunately for those kind of things, it sucks, because if they never refunded you the money and they're holding on to your money, now the bank's not going to give, that's where we kind of get into like a sticky situation of just being careful. So that was just kind of like my take on like what was going on. Charlie, I know from the outside, you kind of just overheard. I know me, you,
Yep.
and Trey were talking about it a little while. Trey, unfortunately, was someone who had purchased a bundle from him and never received it. So he's kind of out of money for that. But like, what was your take on it, or just kind of like, an overall?
Overall, I just think it's terrible. I think it's unfortunate, but I feel like a lot of people within collector communities in general, not just Funko, they do find ways to prey on people. I've seen this happen a lot in like some Star Wars groups I'm in, where same thing kind of happens. Someone's like, oh, I'm going to send you this. They send you pictures, you pay them money. And at least this was more of a legitimate website. So I've seen a lot of situations that happen, more like the Gem Pops one, where it's like, through
Mhm.
PayPal, and just I'm good for it. Do the friends and family, like, don't, first and foremost, like, I know other people have said this in the community, don't ever do that. Like, you just, I mean, unless, like, if me and Migs got something for each other, of course you could do
Mhm.
something like that. But like, if someone does this for a business and they're telling you that's how they want you to pay them, that's just super sketch. Do not do it.
Mhm.
Because they're only making money off of you. They can pay the little bit of percentage that they're going to lose. So
Yeah.
I just have no tolerance for this. It's like really upsetting. And it's funny, like, we had bought a few of those mystery boxes from Gen Pops, and like, I just don't like dealing with people like this at all anymore. Even if I know there's plenty of great people in the community who I know I could trust, it's just not worth it to me, because
Mhm.
a lot of people thought they could trust this person. A lot of people thought they can trust Gen Pops. And I don't, it's really unfortunate, like I said, but I feel like for myself, I just wouldn't deal with people like this. And then you're just not going to put yourself in this situation.
Yeah.
Maybe that's like
Yeah.
blunt, but that's just, I don't know.
No, I agree. And I think it's unfortunate, like you said, it sucks. And like, especially people that lost money and all this stuff, like it's worse for them, clearly. But
Yeah.
it's true what Charlie's saying. It's just more, it's just hard. We both kind of had the same mindset where like, not that we don't trust people, but like we
Yeah.
just think of things a little differently. And I know we're both on the same page when it comes to this. And like I've always been the same way where it's like it is kind of hard to trust a person who you don't really know. Um especially when it's like an Instagram only type of
Business.
transaction or
Yeah.
person or whatever, right? So like that's really like and then granted, there's probably people that do that and they always do everything right and fully have never had issues and that doesn't mean that there's not. But you just always want to be careful. You always want to make sure that um as much as you know about this person that you can, if whether it's referred to by other people that you really do trust, that
Exactly.
usually will help. Now does that mean that they still can't turn around and try to jack you of all this stuff? Like no, of course anybody can. Like I honestly thought the Gen Pops situation was kind of one of those ones that was out of nowhere because I never saw anything
Exactly.
wrong in what he was doing and how good of a person he seemed, and all that but you never know what someone's going through, like, and what they're going to turn and change from one day to the other. The weird thing about this one is, like you said, it was more of a legit like business. Like he had his website, he was up for a long time, but I just saw a lot through that. I saw a lot of the concept. It's the same reason why. Let's go to like a bigger level. It's the same reason why I have never to this day purchased, regardless if they changed ownership supposedly and they got better, anything from Big Apple Collectibles, because that was a company that was known and in the community always late and canceling pre-orders and and there was just enough, which could be two, but enough instances that I'm like, why am I going to risk even doing that? And I completely shut them off. And then people just like more things
Yep.
came out. And then I would have random friends, that are getting into collecting. They're like, oh, I heard, because they were always one of the sites that would pop up whenever you search for
And they
like a
always have
Funko
stuff
Pop.
available.
Yeah. And they would be like, have you ever heard of this business? And I'm like, yeah, don't buy stuff to there. And like, I've also heard of people that bought stuff and gotten what they wanted. And I'm just saying, like, I rather be safe then sorry. Like that's a stupid cliche thing, but
Yeah.
it's just true, right? So when it came to this one and hearing bad things about him and whatever, and like I don't know if I haven't seen them in a while, so I don't even know if they're around anymore. But there's an there was an Instagram page that was like a community page that would basically try to out scammers and people that
Yep.
to warn the community. I don't know if they're around
Yeah. I
anymore. It was
haven't.
like
Yeah.
something community, which is weird. Maybe they were a scammer themselves, but no, but they seem like a pretty cool because they would post. What was good is they would get feedback and ask, hey, do you guys know? And it would be a screenshot of a person's Instagram handle, whatever. And do you guys know any this person? Have you ever purchased whatever? And people would comment and they'd be like, yeah, I've trusted, boom, 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 or no, they have missed this, they never send this, and then it would kind of blow up as like, hey, look out for this person, it's a scammer. And it would help because you know all of us maybe don't deal with them right away, but if something pops up or someone comes out to you, you can refer to that. It was like a reference page. They did something on Nerdy Steeds at one point, and
Oh,
they
really?
basically were putting him on, but yeah, they put him on blast, and they were like, this person is known from for scamming stuff where they're just not sending out uh pre-orders and all, the normal stuff that was
Yep.
going on in the conversation. And then that's when that page blew up on their live talking about them. And that's when I think I had sent you a video
Yep.
back then
I
when I seen
remember.
it, and the guy was just going in and was like, what, just like defending himself, but very defensively, which is funny. He's defending himself, but like very defensively. It wasn't like genuine to me. So I'm like, I don't get it. I don't think this guy's being genuine. He's too cocky, too full of himself. And it just didn't come off the right way. And that's what turned me off from that business. And I just never decided to purchase through. But other people did. And other people clearly got, screwed over, unfortunately. But it's kind of like, I guess the biggest thing is just like look out for any little, thing like that. If you have the slightest, hesitancy on something, you probably are right. Your gut is probably
Yep.
right.
I
And it'd
agree.
be better off to go to a store or go to something that is more legit and get what you want than to risk it for something else and maybe saving a buck or two, because it's not going to be worth it, because at the end of the day, you're losing more than that buck or two, like that you would have if you went somewhere else. So that would be like my biggest like thing. I guess I could say, and like the community, you're gonna do what you want to do. You're gonna buy off who you want to buy, and like if you have your trusted sources, stick with those. But you know, personally, I even have issues with big box companies sometimes, and Charlie knows this. Like, I'm pretty against pre-ordering through Target and GameStop, for instance. Like, just because I've had my own situation, now does that mean that they're not a bad place to go to? No, like Charlie gets stuff from them all the time, and
Yeah.
he hasn't had as many bad issues or instances. But it's more like just doing your due diligence and like making sure you get as much information as you can, especially when it's like these types of pages and stuff. So that would be like my big input in that. But like I'm sure you kind of echo everything I'm saying in that
Yeah. I mean,
zone,
I
right?
completely agree with everything you're saying. And once again, like, I'm more of a, like, if I'm looking for something that I can't just get at a retail store, obviously everyone who's listening to this podcast probably knows about, just go to eBay, go to Whatnot. They have like procedures to make sure you don't get screwed over. And if you do, they will give you your money back. Like, I can give two examples, one personally, one from my cousin Anthony, who we mention a lot on this podcast, who's a big fan of ours. He bought a Breaking Bad Grail off of Whatnot, and he found out it was fake. Filed a dispute with Whatnot, got his money back. And that page, it's funny. I don't even think knew it was fake. I don't think they meant to scam him, but they probably got it from one of these, either buying a collection or,
Mm-hmm.
a seller like that who, they probably did know it was fake. I mean, maybe they didn't, but I don't want to like think the worst in people. I'm more of a positive person, but I've just noticed there's I feel like a lot of people have joined this community too to take advantage of other people, which I think is terrible, because
Mm-hmm.
they know how collectors think, and they know they need to have something, and sometimes there is no price tag too high. That's another like reason too. Like, I'm also someone who loves to support small businesses, but I've noticed collectible small businesses, I feel like a lot of them are ripping off the consumer. So I rather just deal with that, which I know the major corporations, obviously, they have their own skeletons in the closet, but at the end of the day, I know they're not going to screw me over on price and getting my product. And if something does happen where they can't fulfill a pre-order, I get refunded immediately. And most of them, which I also think is a big red flag. If you have a pre-order from a place and they make you pay up front, to me, that's sketch. I don't deal with any places that do that, whether it
Mm-hmm.
is a retailer or like this scammer. You shouldn't be paying him money up front if
Mm-hmm.
he's a legitimate business. That, to me, as someone who's into business, is a huge red flag, because he doesn't have the money to roll the buying off his inventory to then sell to his consumers. So that's
Mm-hmm.
just another tip for everyone to take.
Yeah.
That, to me, is a huge
He
red
also doesn't
flag.
have inventory on I to hopefully hold something
Yeah.
that he doesn't even know if he's gonna actually get yet. Because even though he may have been pretty big and maybe had an in with Funko or whoever he was getting his, his
Stuff
stuff
from.
from, he wasn't he wasn't a Walmart or a Target or someone where you're, and even they're not always guaranteed, because look at the issues that they have to go through. Just imagine what these smaller companies have to go through.
Exactly.
And like you said, like you always want to support small business. Of course, like my wife's a small business owner. Like I always want to support small business, but there is certain things that you have to look into and be careful with because it is different. And you also got to understand that it doesn't mean they're all going to be perfect. And like
Yep.
there's a couple, and we're not even going to name names, but there's a couple of businesses that we know of, small businesses, people in the community that sell or resell and whatever, that have amazing, reviews and raves, and I've dealt with and you've dealt with,
Yep.
that we can say. But it doesn't mean that even they don't have issues when it comes to like getting things, back ordered, or getting especially if there are one or two people that are running this entire thing. Do you know how many flooded DMs and emails and things people probably give them, and they can't always get to everything? Like, we have to understand that we're humans, and like that
Yeah.
happens. But there's ways of dealing with those things and justifying, like, how fixing things. And I just think like this situation with this person, he wasn't good at that. And that's why I just completely didn't buy into it. Where now I'm not like surprised. So when I saw this, I wasn't like, what? Like with Gen Pops, I was a little more like, wow, really?
What? Yeah.
Like I was kind of like, that's kind of crazy. But with this, it was more like, well, okay, yeah, makes sense. Like that's what I
Which
thought.
is
Like,
terrible.
which
Like,
is
yeah.
terrible to think. But like, it's just sad. But and whatever happened. But and with them, but either way, yeah, just be careful. Be even with the trusted stuff, like you said. Even like I really like Whatnot as a place. I don't buy as much on eBay, Macari. Like there are other ones that like they're good. There's ways, but it doesn't mean, like you said, even through Whatnot, things slip through, and
Yep.
sometimes you just have to. But their process is great. Their customer service aspect of things is great. Like and you just got to make sure that you're just being smart with things. And if there's something else, if it's only because you're saving a buck, but there's another way and it's guaranteed, like just go with the guaranteed way. Like don't try to slip by and whatever. And it's true what Charlie was saying. Like, unfortunately, in this community, there's a lot of younger people. There's a lot of kids that are getting into collecting. There's a lot of people that may be a little bit more naive and not like, and they just see like what they really want, and that's all they want. And they get blinded by all the other red flags and things
Yep.
that maybe, someone who's a little bit more, assured of like what they're doing. And it's sad because then those people kind of get, like you said, they do get taken advantage of. Like it happens all the time in this community, unfortunately. We're not in like the most, like, it's hard to say because it's not like it's popular because of how many people we are, but we're not in like the most popular
Yeah.
type of community, because to a lot of people we're nerds and we're weirdos, and we and like we love it
Yeah.
and we love each other and we love all that.
You
But to the
collect
outside
dolls.
world, we're kind of like the oddballs, right? So if I never collected and I'm like, ooh, these people love making, I like making money, and these people love getting the stuff, this is an easy way for me to like, and I
Yeah.
could see that happening, and it happens. And unfortunately, it happens a lot. It happens with people that we think we should be trusting amongst this community, and it sucks. But it is what it is, and it sucks. But hopefully, you guys, if you guys ever, like, I've had, it's kind of crazy because I've been doing this for a few years now. I've had my personal, my pop page, and my Instagram and stuff for a little while now, a couple years. And it's kind of cool because I've had people, I don't know if you've ever had, but I've had people who will DM me, you know personally asking me questions and
Yeah.
advice. And hey, like, I was looking to try to get this thing, or hey, do you think this pop is fake? And I mean, I'm not an expert, but I feel good, like, knowing that people do trust me enough to kind of give a little bit of advice. And it's good to know that they are seeking that advice and trying to be smart about what they're doing and what they're purchasing.
Agreed.
And I really respect that of some of the people. And I think that's pretty cool that, then, if you have questions or anything, feel free. Like, I'm one of those people that'll tell you straight up. I'm pretty, blunt with it, but in the sense of like making sure that you're not going to get screwed. And because I'm not out here trying to get screwed either. Like that's why I look at something, and it's pretty hard to, if you're on my bad side or you're just kind of like whatever, I'll just let you be. And it's hard to get back onto the good side, because I mean, we're 36 years old. Like, we're both around the same age, or you're a little younger, I think.
Yeah,
And like, we've been through enough that's like,
it's not worth it.
it's not worth, like, yeah, just dealing with it. And we have families and kids. There's so much involved in our world that we do this as a collecting hobby, but at the same time, we're like, we see things a little differently than some that are way too blinded and clouded in it. But yeah,
You said
not,
that
not to
perfectly.
ramble and rant, but yeah,
No,
just
yeah, and like I'll end it with that. Like honestly, too, sometimes if something is too good to be true, I hate to admit it, it's because it is.
100%.
Which just please be safe in this community, especially if you're starting out. I do like I hate to when I thought it was funny when Migs brought up the whole like people think we're nerds type thing, which nerds are cool now, but other people don't know that. And
Hmm.
I won't name any names, but to me, there are definitely sellers in this community. That's why they got into this. They don't care. They don't like Funko Pops, but they know it's popular right now and they know they could take advantage of people. I mean, they're not doing anything like legally wrong, but to me, that's
Hmm.
unethical. And I do think a lot of sellers, more often than not, unfortunately, are that way. And that's why, like, hey, we can't tell you what to do. I'm not giving you like quote unquote, like, this is just our opinion. I just
Hmm.
wouldn't deal with them. I just wouldn't deal with them, or at least ask references to
Yeah.
other people within the community. If you can get a few references where people are like, this person's legit, they're going to send you your stuff. 9 out of 10 times, you probably are good then. Like if you
Yep.
came to Migs about going to this person we're talking about, he'd probably tell you, I wouldn't buy from him.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely would have.
So
But that'll be it. Definitely a pretty cool topic. I mean, probably a little controversial in a way too, but like we love
yes,
to hear, feedback all the time. So definitely make sure, comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. Just this controversy in general. Like I said before, did you deal with this person yourself? Unfortunately, did you lose out on money? Because hopefully there's ways that you can kind of get that back and it could be rectified. But um, you know, definitely reach out to us. Like I said, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram. I'm at pop_Migs. You can reach out to Collector Charlie. So either one of us, we're willing to kind of give you our input or take, or if we
of
have a
course.
reference or know of anybody or whatever, definitely, let us know. But generally it's a little safer just to go to the actual business, go to the actual, place, that kind of thing. You want to make sure that, you're just being a little smart about it. But be careful, definitely out there, because like Charlie said, unfortunately, there's people out there that some of them might be doing this and they're not necessarily bad people. And then there's out there that are just might be bad people just trying to do this and take advantage of people. But unfortunately, that's just kind of the collecting world that we're in, because
Yep.
it's going to be there. And it's not like this is just going to stop, because as you noticed a few months ago, we had a pretty big incident. Now we have another one. And in another few months, somebody else will probably pop out of nowhere that something happened. But that'll be it for the episode. So again, we are in, holiday times. We're very excited for a lot of stuff that will be coming out soon. Look out for, I think Charlie as well will be doing this. We have a lot of different Avid calendars. So pretty
Yes.
soon, we'll start in December. We'll be putting out some videos and some shorts and things like that. So definitely check out for those. Make sure you're checking us out. Like as always, Charlie will go over, where you can follow us and everything like that. But just wanted to say thank you to everyone who has been subscribing, liking our stuff. Really appreciate you guys. And I'm very excited for another episode coming soon. But Charlie, you can close us out.
Yeah, so if you guys aren't already, make sure you're following us on our YouTube channel at Collector Chatter. And when you get here, make sure you like all of our videos, comment, and hit that notification bell so you know when new videos come out. I can't stress that enough. And then follow us on Instagram, like you said. Miggs's account is pop_Migs. My personal account is collector_Charlie. And then obviously come follow us at Collector Chatter because we're always posting stories. We're posting some posts, and just we love talking to everyone on there as well, not just on these platforms. And also, thank you so much for listening on the podcast. And if you're listening on Spotify, we post up some questions and some polls so you can interact with us on there as well. And just all in all, thank you so much. We've had, we're going to close out this year great. I know the topic we just talked about, is, like Mick said, controversial and a little bit of a Debbie Downer. But one other advice I have, it is the holiday time, so I feel like scammers may be even out more full force.
Yes,
So
yes,
that's another
yes.
thing just to keep in mind. But all in all, we hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving and hope you're enjoying the new overlay and logo because we're really excited for the holidays. So until next week, later, everyone.
Bye, everyone.